So my sermon today is titled, See What This Life Has Done. Can everybody say it? And my text is taken from Ecclesiastes chapter 3, from verse 16 to 22. The place that was read for us at the time of lesson reading. So the emphasis today is life is full of unpredictability. And the emphasis is on the fact that at times life refuses to be kind to some people. 1979 took me to the United States of America. That was my first trip. My first port of call was Buffalo, New York. And I was going to visit Bethel Ministries, headed by Bishop Henderson. That was the ministry that ordained me a reverend. I left here as an evangelist, and I came back as a reverend. They quartered me with an elderly deaconess. But I noticed that his 56-year-old son was living with her. And this man, who went to church with us every Sunday, stayed back in church praying. It was only when we went for evening service and finished evening service that this guy will return with us. By then it is night. I kept on wondering, what is this man praying about? Monday to Saturday, he is at his place of work. Then Sunday again, you are in church. From morning, we close service, you are praying until we meet you. You join us in evening service and only come back. The next morning, you are off to work. I asked myself, why is this man not married? As I kept on juggling my mind, one Saturday evening or Sunday evening, he sat me down and told me his story. He said, Thompson, I was married. I had a wonderful wife. I had 3 children. One evening, we had our dinner, and we told the children to wait. Of course, they were young children. My wife and I went out just to procure something and come back. After some time, we saw fire engines. That's what they call fire brigade vehicles, trucks. They were racing opposite side. He said, Thompson, I never knew my house was burning. By the time he got back, the street was covered. Firefighters were fighting. Finally, he discovered it was his house. His 3 children burnt to death. The wife couldn't take it. All the preaching, all the comfort couldn't assuage her feelings. Gradually, she seemed to be losing her mind. From there, she got into drugs. Finally, she left home, became a street woman. And that was how the life of his wife ebbed away. With street people living rough for years and years and years. 10 years had passed. Of course, spiritual brothers and sisters in the church, we say, you can't marry again. Your wife is still alive. Do you call such a person somebody alive? Is she alive? So, Brother Corey, that's their family name. Brother Corey was living the rest of his life this way. God created darkness not to fall all of a sudden. Darkness comes gradually. But it's in his own case, as it were, darkness just dropped, bam. And he saw himself living in darkness. And in this world, wherever you turn to, you see victims of this life. Some conceal their situation with smiles. Others have it written all over them. And it seems their whole life is singing. See what this life has done. My wife was teaching in Wakabu, just about a mile or something from Bill. And I discovered there was a pretty lady that always sat in a wheelchair in front of a house at the corridor. I'm always curious. Perhaps I asked. My wife told me her story. That pretty woman was married, was in love with her husband was in love. But one day they were driving down to Waka. Waka is just a valley. On that, erosions wash off everything, stones and this and that. And as they were descending that hill, was it a stone the husband hit as he was driving, and vehicle swerved left and right, started somersaulting. By the time they got to the bottom of the valley, her spine had been broken to pieces. She became invalid, can't move any part of her body. While she was in this agony, it didn't take too long. The husband returned her to her family, married another woman. Every morning, this lady somebody will clean her up or whatever, and she will sit in a wheelchair just watching the road as vehicles and people passed. And I knew that she was only waiting for her death because there was no more life remaining for her. This is the kind of blow this life can give somebody. If you go around to gather people's stories, you will discover that this world is a very dangerous place. Modern countries provide a way of livelihood, a way to ameliorate suffering for people like that woman. They try to bring in a little light and life into their useless system. Olympics finished in France, and was it 2 weeks after, Paralympic started. Paralympic is for disabled people. When the healthy ones gather during Olympic and do all their things, collect all their prizes, the invalids are left. So it occurred to Olympic Committee, let us do something for these disabled people all over the world. And I was watching some of the results. How disabled people, amputated people can swim. How people that don't have legs at all can ride something that look like bicycle with their hands, sitting inside a basket and riding, and winning prizes and feeling like human beings again. In the United States of America, there are many invalids, disabled people who walk. There is a certain shop we go to. It is called Maya. You see disabled people here and there. There's one that pushes trolleys, go gather trolleys, and when he's coming, he's doing like this. You know that this man is not well, but he's walking. Such people are paid by the government. Social welfare. Pay them. So they go to volunteer their services in places where they are accepted. But in Nigeria, the ones that have hands and legs, we don't have job. Then when calamity falls upon you, and your two legs are cut off, will Nigeria care for you? You are on your own. So see what life has done. I was away when Innocent Eze passed on. And the wife told me the story because Innocent was a very good friend. That Saturday morning they had family devotion. And after that, children were doing their own thing. Father and mother reclined one corner and they were talking. As they were discussing something important, all of a sudden he grabbed his chest, started screaming. He rushed out, alerted the Gwedimas, and then was being rushed to the hospital. The doctor was still examining him. And he was gone. People praying with husband and father. In less than 30 minutes, he was in heaven. Life changed. So that's what life does to people. That is why we are living in the world. We are not in heaven yet. And that's why we should understand that this place is not our home. See what politicians have done to us. See what they have done to Naira. Naira is mere paper. See what joblessness is doing in this country. See what hunger is doing. I was watching a program the other day. Was it on Al Jazeera? And they were showing places in Nigeria where children now are looking like skeletons. In this country, they don't have food to eat. Malnutrition or kwashiorkor is now reigning in Nigeria, a country God had so much blessed. But when all these tragedies are happening, how many people can survive it? So God said, I should tell you today, don't resign to negativity. Listen to what one man did. His name, Jacob, the son of Isaac. It is in Genesis 37, verse 34 to 35. It reads, Then Jacob tore his clothes, put on sackcloth, and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and daughters came to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. He said, I will continue to mourn until I join my son in the grave. So his father wept for him. This was a man that lost his most beloved wife. A man that just retired and felt, let me go spend the few days I have on the land God promised my fathers. He was very close there. On the way, the wife he loved most died. And now, within a short time, the beloved son, the son of his old age, the one always with him at home, the one he will send, do this, do that. What they brought was his garment soaked with blood. He said, don't comfort me. Don't try it. He refused to be comforted. And I'm here today to tell you, if tragedy befalls you, make sure you don't draw the curtain. Make sure you don't tell the sun, don't shine on me again. I want to live in darkness for the rest of my life. Don't do that. That's the worst approach. Bad things do happen to people here on earth. And the question is why? Listen to the announcement made in heaven. It was made so that heavenly inhabitants will hear it, and those living here will hear it. Rejoice, O heaven, and you who dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and the sea, for the devil has been driven down to you. Brothers and sisters, we live in the same neighborhood with Satan. Tell your neighbor, we live in the same neighborhood with Satan. Because of that, the voice says, woe unto you. Because of that, God is telling us, you will encounter trouble. So, the people who don't have good sense of what life is all about, when they see it that way. I learned when he not died. He died on Saturday. Headquarters church member. Sunday morning, Margaret Mbaya, who was discussing innocence death that Saturday morning and throughout the day, she went to bed that Saturday. Sunday morning, the husband tapped her. She had gone. Laranto, forgotten the name of that sister. Was it Carol or something? Carol had gone. In fact, somebody told the family God had left Redeem People's Mission. So I'm not sure I would allow people to continue with this church. What are you talking about? My brother's former ministry, one of the elders said the same thing about me. That was when I lost 4 choir members one day. One of them was wedding in Abuja. Oji, Geoffrey, Gladys, Eunice, 4 of them. They went, had a wonderful time. They were returning. And Dadinko were here. Their vehicle ran off-road, slammed on a concrete beam that was holding the electric pole. Of course, the person driving, Oji just bought that vehicle. Whether he was proficient enough to drive, who knows? Whether he had driven in the night before, who knows? 2 died on the spot. Geoffrey and Eunice were taken to Jude. Alan Geoffrey was encouraging Gladys. Hold on, nothing will happen to you, nothing will happen, because it was internal bleeding, not anything they could see physically. He was talking and he dropped dead. Shortly after that, Eunice died. And I had the responsibility of going to bury. We stopped at Anambra. I buried Geoffrey. We continued. Went to my village house, passed the night. The next morning, I was in Oji's place to bury him near Umudike, Umuahia. We finished from there. I traveled to Mbise, buried Eunice towards evening. Ononeze helped me bury Gladys. So one of my brother's elders asked my brother, what type of church is your brother doing? We saw him not long ago. He came to bury somebody. And now, I'm hearing that he came to bury many members of his church. What type of church is that? Well, somebody said, rejoice not over me, O my enemy. When I fall, the Lord will cause me to rise. When I sit in darkness, the Lord will give me light. After a season, they call their leader president. The son of their president in America died. They were still mourning the son of their president. The brother-in-law of the headquarters church pastor died. He slumped at the airport in Lagos. He was traveling abroad. He slumped there and died. They hadn't brought the corpse back. His wife died. They were mourning that the son of their CEC chairman, Dr. Iyinaya, the son was in the plane where one of the emirs died in a plane crash. It was the same plane. He died. And I felt like telling my brother, ask him which type of church are they, Some days are like that according to Reverend Obi. Because the Bible says, woe to the inhabitants of the earth. Bad things will continue to happen because we live here. Bad things will continue to happen. I told you the story of a family in Bauchi for a church many years ago, I think in the 80s or early 90s. Father and mother and first son were at the front shop putting loaves of bread into polythene bags, tying. 4 younger children were in their room at the back or their apartment. It was a passerby that saw fire raging at the back. He raised the alarm. By the time every other neighbor had slept, by the time they rushed down, the house was burning. 4 children, including the baby, whom Obi said to pick the bones was difficult. They just saw it, they touched it, it was dust. 4 children died one night. That's calamity that happens here. The Alfreds, Israel and Blessing, send their son to Kaduna to a good school, military school, for high institution. Received message, their son is sick. Blessing told me, immediately he arrived, they brought this boy, they were sending him to the theater for surgery. He grabbed the mom and he was saying, Mom, I love you. I love you, Mom. And refused to go. They literally yanked him off. Took him in, started the surgery, and it was like forever. When they bring this boy out, the people were confused. They didn't know how to tell her, your son is dead. Finally, they came out and broke the news. And the poor woman was now arranging how to carry the corpse back. And that's it. You are only son? Yes. At Alama Private School, that's where my children went through. One day the children were on recess. And a vehicle was passing. You know how children behave. This child wanted to cross the road on speed, and the vehicle slammed him. And, didn't kill him, nothing. Not much bruises. But when this boy was picked up, his private part was lost. Something sharp just sliced it off. I was told women started crying. Because they were wondering, how is this one going to live? His manhood, they don't know what caught it, what took it off. I don't know if they ever found it. If that were to be your son, what will you do? Bad things do happen. But when it happens to anybody, the person should find non-sinful way to overcome it and to carry on with life. Some people go into drinking to douse the effect of what they have suffered. Some go into drugs. Some start smoking all kinds of things that can blow the head off. That is the wrong recipe. But if it is something you can control and carry on with your life, that is what I encourage everyone to do. We had a friend who came to preach to us when we were still in Laranto, Bishop Salako. He's continued to be my friend. He lives in the same city with my son. And I go to his church to preach from time to time. He visits me at home. I've gone to his house. He lost his wife after 9 years of cancer. And he called me daddy. He said, you need to see what I suffered for 9 years to save my wife's life. The wife was a nurse, senior nurse for that matter. So the best treatment was given. At the tail end of it, somebody told him there are some people who will use herbal medicine to heal her, and he took her from US to South Africa, and she died there. He had to bury the wife in South Africa and return to US. You don't know what he has gone through within the 9 years. He's living with a wife, but my spiritual father said, when your wife dies, that is when people start counting for you. Yeah, he died 2 years ago. He said, you don't know how many years they have been living, and there is no intimacy because the woman is going through pain. You can't even approach her to say, I want to behave like a man to you. He said, nobody considers that. So this man whose wife was suffering for 9 years, you don't know when last they had intimacy. And then after that, in fact, I preached at the memorial service when he returned from South Africa. And there was a big ceremony. I preached. And what I'm going to say now, I said it. I told him, look, your life is not ended. After you've mourned your wife, do as David did. David said, he is not coming back to me. I would rather go back to him. That was when the son died. So he rose up. He said, give me food, Jerry. And he ate. He took back. And the servants started asking, he was fasting for 7 days. And now the son has died. He said, give me food, let me eat. I want to bath and this and that. Yeah, he decided to resume life. I'm not going to die because this boy is not. And after about maybe a year and 6 months to 2 years, my friend had found maybe a childhood friend or a lady who never married before, perhaps around 50. They settled the bride price, went to registry and officialized the marriage, gathered few people of God, and they prayed for him. And they started living as man and wife here. But he will return to US and be doing church. And they didn't know when he was coming back to Lagos, he was also doing another thing. He had married. Did he commit any sin? It took some time when he decided to bring his wife to US. And he told them, look, we have done everything. The marriage is official. Men of God prayed. I'm not doing another marriage here. Crisis burst. When did the wife die? Why should he? Blah, 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 blah. They were even fighting over the car his late wife was using. And he said, Daddy, I bought that car for my wife. Now they are saying, why should my new wife use this car? I said, some Christians are stupid. They're just stupid. They are fighting for a woman that is in heaven. If you give her that car, she will just spit on it. Her life is finished. And she has gone to heaven. They say, you people take life too seriously. You take life too seriously. I don't believe, the Christianity that operates under Hammurabi law. A woman loses the husband. Then she must remain for 5 years, 10 years. If other men are coming, it doesn't even happen here. Immediately you are a woman and you lose your husband, you are crucified. Nobody talks to you again, except the very unscrupulous brothers who come and start asking, sister, now like this you go stay, and you are married. And now you want to be warming up yourself with this one. But abroad, people marry widowers. Our son who died here, Chuk Sohanele, the wife is properly married, remarried now. Life continues. But even here, a man loses the wife. There is the law. He must spend 6 years like Reverend Adegoye before he marry. And I don't agree with that. Life is so short. If the person who died has gone to heaven. She's not going through what we are going through here. Why must we put this law? That was why another friend of mine got down to the east, got married after the wife died, took the wife to Abuja. She started doing a course there in Abuja. And he was living here in Jos. All the time, I'm doing a job in Abuja. Continue. He called me. He said, Reverend, I don't want to commit adultery. I can't stay like this. That's why I'm married, fully married, but I haven't told people. She's in Abuja. We go to Abuja, and when we finish in Abuja, I come back to Jos, and everybody is rejoicing. Yeah, brother is, see, brother, that's the man of God. Man of God. And my friend, he lost his wife. Before I knew it, he had married his wife's secretary or wife's PA. Church nearly scattered. I think it was about 2 years or so, or maybe 1 year. Why should he? Some key people left the church, he told me. Why? He stays like that way and commits adultery is another case. He says, I want to settle down. The gift of singleness, Jesus said, is given to some people. Some people are born eunuchs. Some people are made eunuchs by man. And if it is your gift, go ahead. Go ahead. Continue to be single. But some people don't have that gift. They want to maintain their focus. Hallelujah. Elder George Corey in Buffalo, New York, ought to have remarried. And you'll be asking me, supposing his crazy wife comes back, what will happen? Why not wait until when she comes back? Why not? I believe if the wife, God delivers her and she comes back, and I'm the pastor, I will say, receive your wife. What of the second one? Stay with her. You know, all this high sermons we preach. A polygamist repents and comes to church. Yeah, you have to put away the second wife. I have not seen it in Bible. Do you know what Paul said? An elder must be a husband of one wife. Polygamists repented and brought their wives to church. Paul said, if you want to ordain elders, leave the polygamists alone. Their trouble is too much. Managing one wife is a problem, not to talk of managing two. So leave them alone. Let the ones who have one wife be brought as elders, as deacons. Am I preaching the word? Yes, sir. That's the Bible. So, the time has come for the church to become a bit wiser. We like difficult doctrines, hard doctrines. Most of those people who were polygamists, they sent away second wife. Go and find out how the second wife is now living. If she goes into a hotel, then that will be holiness. Look at what Jesus said in Matthew 11:30. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. 1 Timothy 1:8-10. Law was made for man and not man for law. The law was made for adulterers, murderers, thieves, this and that. The law is just to guide us, to give us guardrails. It's not given to us to punish us and be gnashing our teeth. When life deals with you a heavy blow, one thing you must not do is to enter into a cocoon. Don't enter into a cocoon. You know, this thing that caterpillar stay in until they hatch or whatever. Don't isolate yourself. Don't start living in terrible sorrow and anguish. Don't allow life to clamp down on you and make life useless. If Elijah had run to wherever other prophets were hiding, where Obadiah, the servant of Ahab, was feeding them, you wouldn't have had Elijah praying to God in the wilderness as he was running away. It is enough. Kill me. I'm not better than my fathers. It was a sign of loneliness and depression. But if he had gone to where other people were, other prophets were hiding from Ahab, he wouldn't have been praying for death. So we shouldn't get ourselves into a situation where life becomes too difficult that we are now praying to die. Hebrews 10:25, New Living Translation says, and let us not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another. When you are in the midst of people and you are going through difficulty, life is grinding you like pepper. Because you are around people, you will continue to receive encouragement. Avoid social isolation. It leads to loneliness. Hear what experts said about loneliness. They said, loneliness is a hidden killer and one of the largest health concerns which we face. Researchers, the same quote is quoting other people. Researchers have found that loneliness puts individuals at greater risk of cognitive decline. Your brain, your mental capacity will begin to shrink when you're so lonely. It will also lead to dementia. That is something close to Alzheimer's disease. Sometimes you can't even remember your own name. with an increased risk of high blood pressure and heart disease. The World Health Organization has declared loneliness to be a pressing global health threat. The US Surgeon General has said that its mortal effects are equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. The effect of loneliness is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Somebody who smokes 15 cigarettes a day will die soon. They say it is the same effect that loneliness will put you into. So never isolate yourself because calamity had hit you. Life had dealt a serious blow on you. Number 2, keep your faculties alive. Make it active. Use your brain. Many people are what they are because they don't use their brain. Make your brain functional, not brooding, worrying, and feeling disquieted. Innocent Eze's wife was visiting me not long ago with the children, and we were talking. And she was telling me what she went through. He said, "Daddy, I refuse to do my hair. I remember when to get her on the phone was a problem. To see her, to talk with her, to encourage her, it was as if she just locked herself away." Then the children started to ask her, "Mommy, if our dad had been alive, would he have been happy to see your hair the way it is?" That was when the children talked. She decided, okay, I'll do my hair, I'll take care of myself. And she concluded by saying, "I've even registered with Open University to get myself engaged, studying." That is a way of making her brain to come alive instead of locking herself up and not using her mental faculty. Before you know it, more serious problem erupts. Hallelujah. Do you know that people of the world will say that Joseph was very lucky? The calamity that befell him, your own brother sold you as a slave. Then in Egypt, a woman told lies against you and threw you into prison. One of the things that helped Joseph was that responsible positions were given him so that he was functional as a human being. He was managing Potiphar's estate. In prison, they say he was running the prison. The chief warder handed over everything to him. He was the one doing all the calculations, managing, running the place. Listen to Philippians 4:8, New Living Translation. And now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. So how you think, how you use your brain matters in this life. Try to manage your thoughts. If the world is trying to crush you, husband has not come, you are getting close to 40. Don't continue living in depression and worry and concern. Jesus said, look, you can't even add an inch to your height by that. I thank God for his call upon my life. Being a preacher, a leader, makes me a problem solver. People bring their problems to me. It makes me think. people that are bereaved. I have the opportunity to comfort. Talk with people distressed. One sermon can take me a whole week. I am tweaking it. I'm adding maggi here. I'm adding pepper. I'm adding salt. I'm doing this because I don't like just putting Philippians 2, Deuteronomy 3, and this and that. I like to preach real life. So it takes me thinking to research, study, meditate positively. And as I'm using my brain, that's why my brain is very much alive. Shout hallelujah. Give me a clap offering then. There is what is called disuse atrophy. Disuse atrophy. Any part of your body you are not using will begin to die. He was a pastor, part-time pastor. He was Rural Electrification Board manager. And he was given a church to manage. And he was managing this church as the pastor. Everybody calling him pastor. Nobody knew he was a hypocrite. He kept on sleeping around. Took a lady under him to a hotel. She was going to wed in 2 weeks' time. And this girl went to celebrate, sent forth for him. Oh, guy, you have been good. They went to a hotel around 2 a.m. He was struck with cardiac arrest. And he died there. The hotel attendants locked the girl because if she escaped, you know what will happen. Police will ask them, how did you people kill this person? So they kept the girl. Went and called police. They searched him, found his ID. Pastor so of so ministry. They broke. They went to the church. Yeah, is so pastor, one of you? Yes, that's our pastor. We are afraid he's dead. How? He died in a hotel with a woman. They almost wanted to say he's not our pastor. What of his family? They were escorted to their house. And who did they meet? They met the entire family and his son. Can you imagine yourself a son? And you were taken to show the corpse of your father. And this is the story about your own father. My elder brother went for the funeral. And his wife was almost dead. Dede, what do I do? Can you see how my husband took stool and rubbed on my face? It was as if that family had closed down. But no matter how tragic, no matter how bad your situation is, don't give up. That is first son. The day they were burying the father, it was as if there will be no more smile in the family. But that son ended up in Germany, studied, got good job. After some time, sent a sleek Mercedes car to the mother. Hallelujah. And the mother was asking my senior brother, how can I drive? Who am I to drive this type of car? And then they say, go learn how to drive. So when it seems life has come to an end, remember that life has not come to an end. If you told that boy that day, this is your father, who disgraced all of you, who died this way, this situation will never pass, he wouldn't have believed it. God has a way of making a way out, so that when it seems there will be no more joy in your life, you will still meet days of joy. Hallelujah. God will turn your situations around. God makes way where there is no way. One word describes this life. It is unpredictability. And as I'm ending, listen to me. Anything can happen at any time. Therefore, I have life philosophy. And that life philosophy is don't hold anything too tightly. I don't. I don't hold money tightly. Because that's how I am. I have problems. But my life is not going to be based on money. Because if I begin to look at people I need to help and look at my problem, I won't help anybody. You can't see me help anybody. But from time to time, I damn the consequence. Money is not my life. I don't hold on to it. And that is why I'm still alive now. Some of my security men saw my elder brother. And they were telling my younger sister, you say, oh God, na him junior brother. They say yes. The older brother is younger than him, the way he looks. And my sister said, now the thing my brother don't suffer. My brother don't suffer too much. That's why he's like this. But with my suffering, I'm still alive. Hallelujah. And as I told you last Sunday, I have longevity DNA, but I'm not holding on to life. Even when I had stroke, some people would have cursed God because I looked at myself. My fingers were twisting like this. My legs couldn't carry me. It was as weak. I tried to walk, my toes were hitting the ground. And I looked at it, I said, yes. God is not fair. That's what I told myself. My brother told me, my son told me, look, Dad, the good thing is that it did not affect your mouth. Because I know you care about your looks. I said, yeah, God didn't want my mouth to twist. Yeah, because he wants me to be alive with this hand and with this leg that I'll be preaching for him. He's not fair. That's what I said. But even then, I was prepared to be like this when preaching to you. I wasn't going to tear my Bible. I wasn't holding on to my normal looks. If that's the way God wanted it, okay. Father, I accept. I believe you are still on the throne. So borrow my philosophy. Don't hold anything too tightly. If not, when you lose it, you'll be dead in a short time. Shall we rise?